Okay, welcome. Wednesday evening. I think it's Wednesday evening. Wednesday evening, something like that. Edition. And where did we leave off? Well, this is where we're at. We got this stand complete, but we haven't painted it yet because I'm having second thoughts. No, I'm not having second thoughts. I'm considering what color I'm going to use. I'm not going to use the temperate palette that I normally use. I wanted to do something more arid without it looking like the damn desert. This is the desert basing that I use. This is my Amorites. Jesus. Waited until I went online to start grinding stuff. So I want to do something in between the two. And I haven't decided. I haven't decided what I'm going to do. So let me consult. I should have already done that already. Let me consult some other colors here. And we're going to give it a whirl. And if I don't like it, well, then, you know, it's unlikely I'm going to dislike how it turns out. Let's go to good old Flames of War. And I don't do anything Flames of War, but they have a really good, decent website and give you some ideas. They have an article in there. We're going to do a search on their site, and I'm going to do a search for desert basing. And there should be an article from a few years ago on there, on the Flames of War site, as soon as it loads this up. Contacting New Zealand, I think that's where this site is. Hold on one second. Okay. So if you look at the articles, there's an article, I believe it's the third one down, that's called Desert Basing. And it's a really cool article. And what's really neat about this article is that it gives you kind of before and after what each one of them looks like. And at the bottom of the page, there's some suggested color palettes by using 3 different shades. Now, I've used the one on the bottom right. That's this one right here. That's the English Uniform Green Ochre Dark Sand Mix. I've used the one on the upper left, which is a Brown Sand, Iraqi Sand, Pale Sand mix. And that is like for my Indian troops. I haven't messed with the other 2. So I'm thinking I'm going to try Brown Violet, Green Ochre, Stone Gray. The Brown Violet seems like a good starting point. And the Green Ochres, I'm good with that as well. I don't know about the Stone Gray. It might end up making it look too grayish. But we'll give it a whirl. If you're going to experiment, it's probably better to experiment on somebody that it's not so difficult getting in between the legs and so forth. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to try with Brown Violet, Green Ochre. We'll pull out those 3 colors. Stone Gray is the color I use for hooves. So I don't see that working really well. But we might just try it anyways. Here it is. I can barely read what it is. Stone Gray, Green Ochre. Okay, got it. And the last one is Brown Violet, which is kind of like U.S. World War II olive drab, like the color you'd paint a Sherman or something like that. Is it already out here as well? Yeah, it already is. And I'm going to put some green on these. I'm not going to use any static grass. I'm just going to use tufts. And the tufts are going to be greenish. We talked about doing that, so Rick, there you are. Hey, look, a milkshake. This is how you do it. I'll have to have my wife tell you how to make a proper milkshake. I thought it was a banana smoothie. So if this sucks, well, all right. Let me take a look at that. Let me take a look one more time at that. Brown violet. Which one of these is it? The one that it goes with? Tunisia. Battlefield brown. Dry brush of Sicily. Yeah, they just changed the names of some of these paints. Doing a wash. We're not doing a damn wash. That's stupid. I ain't got time for that. I already have a really slow method of doing things. We don't need to slow it down even more. Okay, brown violet overall. I mean, that's how a milkshake's supposed to look. Not all clumpy and unmixed like mine. You know, if I made one, it'd be just as crappy as yours. I can't do anything in the blender. It doesn't blend. Like, stuff at the bottom will mix and the top won't. And you try using a wooden spoon and it just... Just go to McDonald's. Assuming the ice cream machine's working. I didn't know that was a thing. I hadn't been to McDonald's in like 4 years. And like 4 months ago, I decided to go back. And I remember right off the bat why I hadn't gone in 4 years. Except now it's really expensive. Fast food used to be good taste, used to be bad for you. It's always been bad for you. It used to be bad for you, tasted good, and it was cheap. Then it went to still bad for you, didn't taste good, but was still cheap. Now they took the cheap out. I mean, you can't eat anywhere for like less than $8. $8, $9, $10. You go through a drive-thru, that's how much it is. I'm only ordering one of everything. I'm not ordering a bunch of things. Is there even still a dollar menu? I don't know. The fries are still good. No nutritional value whatsoever. I went to some show. Where was it? Oh, the show we have recently. And I realized what bad shape lots of people are in. I'm like, man, I want to be one of those people. There's some people that are really bad shape. You know, that are in their mid-50s. Like, you know, you shouldn't be... I don't want to be in bad shape when it's time to retire. You know, I don't need to be a health nut, but... I want to die before I'm retired, not afterwards. Wait, what? Wait a second, that might not be a good plan either. All right, so this is a just downright ugly color. Ugly color. And as soon as I find, well, I've got some of these damn drill bits. We're going to use a drill bit. There we go. Let's get the thing out. We do not want to make a mess. I'm not interested in cleaning up shit today. So the video last night, well, not the video last night, the video from Monday night set records as being the slowest for YouTube to process. They took their sweet ass time processing that video. They had it for at least 13 hours, and then I'm like, I'm going to bed. I'm going to bed. And then it wasn't until this morning that it's like, oh, they finally decided to get up off their ass and process the video in HD. I don't know if I'm gonna like this, but let's just keep an open mind. Let's just keep an open mind, and we're gonna do all the way through. We can repaint it. I wanted to take somebody's advice of the 3 colors to use already, because I can figure it out, but once you do, the last one's actually the critical one. So if it looks like it's going sideways, I'm not going to go with that gray, because I really don't want this to be super gray looking. You know, I don't want to look like some damn fjord or something. Let's take the rest of this epoxy off this needle. You enjoyed the hoplite video. Excellent. Yeah, if I keep having experiences like I have had recently, well, I didn't film the stuff that happened at the con, but if I'm gonna start having experiences like I have had recently, I'm gonna have to change my handle to Miracle Max. There's some crazy stuff has happened. And, you know, I'm glad I caught it on film, because that scenario you saw where I played Mitch is really similar to the experience that I had with the Pope playing Don. This is god-awful. This is a god-awful color. This looks horrible. We're still going ahead with it. I don't want to jump to conclusions. The same thing happened when I did the English uniform. I did the English uniform as a base. I'm like, that is not dark enough. God, that's an ugly color. There was a situation where I was playing against Don, and I was playing the Papal Army versus his early Poles, and it was at the show, so it wasn't being filmed, and would have been too difficult to film it, along with everything else. And there was 3 times in a row where I ended up saying, God wills it, and I rolled a 6, and he rolled a 1 at the same time. 3 times in a row. All of those things happen. And there's people watching, like Randy was watching it. He commented on it the other night. It's just unbelievable. It's just stuff you just wouldn't believe unless you saw it or you have it on film. So that's why I want to film everything. Some crazy stuff is going to happen. You know, people that are really superstitious, they're going to have a hard time sleeping after they watch some of our videos. I'm not superstitious at all. You know, really thought Mitch had you in that last encounter when he had the cavalry on my flank. Yep. You're living a wrong kind of life. Yeah, so that army's now 4-1. 4-1, yeah. So they're safe to. I can safely build them, and I actually have the troops to build them. The Thebans. And I have an Athenian army that I have 5 elements painted. The problem is Mitch showed up and he has every version of Greek army he could make. So, you know, I kind of go where I'm needed. And never got around to finishing my Athenians. And one of the conventions we went to, he won a Zyston army. Like, he won the event. What's he going to do with an unpainted army? So it came with a camp. He's like, hey, you can have the army if you paint the camp for me. I said, you betcha. So I've got a Zyston Theban army to do and a Zyston Athenian army to do. But we will not be doing them until this looks horrible. This looks horrible. I'm not convinced, but we're going to take it all the way. It's easy to fix. I do want the basing to look different. I don't know why, I just do. But I'll tell you what, at the show, Dirk, I really enjoyed playing with the 25mm size figures. Not enough to, that's what I'm going to paint. But it was nice standing up, playing the game standing up, and rolling, using a bigger die and rolling it across the table like I was playing craps. I guess that's what it feels like to play craps. I wouldn't know. And I had more fun playing it than anybody else did. Let's put it that way. I really got into it. And I was borrowing a Anglo-Norman army, which I have the troops to do in 15mm. I just, you know, as they call them in England, the bad guys. All right, we're going to let this dry a little bit. Oh, I know what I needed to do. So I set these guys apart. I set these figures apart that I was going to use for this army. And then Marty chimed in. He was watching my videos. So somebody that I play with watches videos. That's good. Joe watches them, and Randy watches them as well. But Marty was watching me. He said, "Hey, I thought I sold you some Kumans. Or Kumans. Kumans or Kumans? And those things. You could use some of them as a light cavalry." I said, "Well, I could use them for one of the stands. Because right now, all my light cav in this army are these Turk mercenaries. All in the same pose." He mentioned that to me a couple days ago, and I forgot to do it last night. So I'm going to do that right now. Oh! Shouldn't have had my leg folded like that. All right. Get the wagon out of the way. Finally got to use the wagon to move things around to the convention. Had it for 2 years. Wasn't able to use it. I got it. Bam, COVID hit. Cancel all the conventions. This wagon kicks ass. It was extremely handy. Also nice to be able to see the figures in 28mm without glasses. I still wore glasses. Still wore glasses. I don't mind wearing the reading glasses. They kind of help focus your attention. And it is comforting that if something happens to them, you just go to the pharmacy and buy another pair. Not that I want to do that, but you know, things happen. All right, so this is a big old pile of old school. They're not that old school, but Gladiator game stuff. And I'm looking to see if there's any Kumans here. And I don't remember. Lombards. I can't wait to dig into this stuff and then buy some Forged in Battle guys to add to them, and then get some really good looking barbarian Fall of Rome type stuff. I had all these Hun archers. It came with I have 2 or 3 packs of these Hun archers on foot. I'm like, what in the hell am I supposed to do with them? And then I realized one of the Hun lists, Hephthalites, actually have 4 stands of solid bow. And I got the guys for them. Awesome. Impressive dedication to cast off the reins figures, replace them. Still not sure if it isn't just madness, though. Yeah, I'm not getting into that. I'll paint eyes first. I'm not looking for things that are going to slow my already slow process even more. I figure I've got about as slow a process as just about anybody. I don't need to slow it down anymore. It means I'm going to get less stuff done. Frank infantry. Not looking good. Not looking good that there's any Kumans here. Kuman light cavalry. Careful what you wish for. All right. Okay, Marty. There you go. Careful what you wish for. Gothic archers. These guys already found them. Is it Kuman or Cumans? Or Cumans? I think that pretty much covered all three of those. It's one of those three. I'll have to hear some pronunciations and make my own determination. There's some weird stuff. Listening to books on tape. I keep calling books on tape, and they're not on tape. Audible. There's people with just do some real crazy pronunciation for things. That city in Greece. I'm not as much, even though I've done ancients and medievals now for almost 20 years, and I'm kind of a detail nut. I want to get things right. I still don't consider myself an ancients and medieval person. But I'm reading this book on Audible, and we're having it read to me. Listening to this book on Audible, there we go, that was recommended. And I actually like it quite a bit. It's a historical series called, I think it's called Tyrant. Somebody recommended it. I was doing a show, and somebody said, hey, you should check this out. And I checked it out, and I'm reading the first one, right? And the main character, I don't know if it's the same character through, I think it's 5 or 6 different parts of it. It's like 18 hours long for each part. And it starts off with this character. There's the main character. He's an Athenian commander of cavalry at one of the battles with Alexander. And I don't remember which one it is. It sounds like it's either Granicus or Issus or something like that. It doesn't come out right and say it, but he's at a river or whatever, so that pretty much means it's one of those two fighting the Persians. And everything's hunky-dory till this one scene that he's describing where Alexander's, walking in front of the men, and he's trying to give them a pep talk and everything. And here he comes in his white horse. And Alexander's horse was not freaking white, okay? It was a black horse with a white star on his forehead, from everything that I've read. So I'm wondering, the skeptic in me, should I finish reading the rest of this book and yet, even more, read any of the other ones? Because if they got something wrong as obvious as the color of Alexander's horse, which in my opinion is obvious and a no-brainer, what else do they have wrong that doesn't stand out like that? You think the stands of solid bows are Indian archers? In the Hephthalite army? Is it? Let's see what it says here. And I got the damn DBMM books too. Okay, that would be the Hun list, right? So it's going to be 280 or something like that. Sorry, I mentioned the wrong army. It's the Saber or Sabir Hunnic army. They have 5 so they have a cav general, a light horse general, or a solid warband general. I ain't picking that one. And then 6 light horse, and then 5 stands that can be either solid warband or solid bow. It's Saber Hunnic. Sorry, wrong one. Or Sabir. Anyhow, got the guys for that. Sorry, Hephthalites have the Heffalump. Good morning, Studio WGS, coming to you live from Malaysia. Okay, let's see what's in this Kuman pack. I believe there's 4 guys in here. Kuman. Actually, there might be 5 figures in here. Bastards. Just invent your own quantity while you're at it. All right. We got a guy with a javelin, guy with a javelin, guy with a bow, guy with a bow, guy with a javelin. All right. So we'll grab one of these and one of these. Let's clean these guys up and mount them on a penny. I mean on a disc. And they are a lot bigger than these ponies. I don't care. They're not on the same stand. I like mixing manufacturers. Cumins, something like that. This guy's almost elf-like. Okay. These have a shitload of detail compared to these little rugrats. Oh, they're not bad. They're just small. Oh, well, they're supposed to be ponies anyways, right? All right, let's get a couple of discs, mount these guys on here. That way I'll use these guys in the army. Some of these are only going to get used. I think like one of these light horse, I use it instead of the Normans. You know, so if you want to hit them, you use 2 stands of Normans. If not, you end up replacing them. So it's unlikely all 3 of them are going to get used unless I got to do some kind of Wimp Wars or something like that. Or do a historical scenario. That's a little bit more likely. More stuff to paint. All right. Now let's look at this color looks like. This is horrendous. This is just really, really yucky. All right. Is it dry enough? And the grasses that we're going to on there are not going to be very arid looking. They're going to be on the bright side. I mean, not crazy, but... Okay, where's the green ochre? Here. And something to dry brush on top of. This will do just fine. You can't really tell how much of this color is actually going to be showing. So that's why I'm gonna stick through it. And if I don't like it towards the end, well, I'll just redo it at that point. Last comment before we die in. What do we got? You can work both sides of different stands. Size difference should not be a problem. You can work both sides of different stands. The size difference should not be a problem. I don't know what you're saying. Oh, I could definitely put guys on the same stand that are different sizes. I don't have a problem with it. I've done it before. My Irish army has one guy that eats all the porridge. That's what he looks like. We're going to iron this. Worst case scenario, I don't like it, and I'll go back to this desert basic and just do the grass on a little bit different. I don't want to. I just didn't want them to look temperate looking. I don't want it to be a light color type base to make the figures pop in this army. And I know this is looking very yellow. But at the same time, I got a lot of self-confidence when it comes to this stuff. I'll be able to. It will turn out just fine. It may not be like this. I may have to do something different, but it will turn out just fine. I will be happy with the results. What is the water in this? How far down is it? Jesus. It really evaporated big time. I like watering this stuff down a little bit when you get close to the legs, so you don't end up like dry brushing next to the figure and undoing everything you've painstakingly tried to avoid to do. You know, you try to do a neat job and then you come in and ruin it all. So let's take a look at this. Okay, now the basing color looks different on the bottom, but then we covered it with the same color that's on top of it, because this has the green ochre as well. So let me see if I can remember what the top color in that is. Because I just don't see using this stone color. It's just going to be way too, it's not going to be warm enough. It's going to be kind of cool looking. Fat fingers. Yeah. We all got those. Weight loss plan for fingers. Stone gray. Okay, so what's the other color? The other color is dark sand. Yeah, let's try using dark sand. And most importantly, if this works and I'm happy with it, I gotta write down what I did. Well, I just watched a video again, you know, but dark sand. Dark sand looks almost like buff, and there's buff. This is Iraqi sand, so dark sand must be this one. Yep. That is so frustrating. I don't know what part. My frustrating part's over with. That's a work. I don't get frustrated with this hobby stuff. Things can go totally sideways and I will be completely fine. So the basing is going to be the same. I'm using the same colors as I am here with this guy, except the base color is different. So it's just slightly different. I just think it's going to be too... I mean, here's the difference. I think this is just going to be way too gray. And then we won't know until we start painting. I'm going to paint the edge because painting the edge makes a big difference. And then we'll add some tufts. We're going to add some, we're going to move forward like this is how it's going to end up. And then we'll know. We'll know whether we like this or not. So I want it to look arid, but with some moisture plants, not arid. All right, I gotta put my glass on so I can see what I'm doing. In other words, hold it farther away from myself. All right, so it looked different enough. Let's I will use the stone gray on the rocks. Keep a log when I paint, jot down important changes. I'm really good at color matching things. I've color matched things I've done 15 years ago because it's real easy to figure out what color it isn't. That was the stone one, wasn't it? Yep. Far out. All right, let's wash this a little bit. Just as a reminder, well, it isn't a reminder means I would have told you before. I will not be in town this weekend, so there will not be any Saturday or Sunday painting, unfortunately. But we'll be back. Let's get a temperate color guy out here. Oh, Irish. Irish are temperate colored. I have to pretend that these grasses aren't here because that's going to throw up my perception. This is definitely, this looks really weird when you put next to it. Okay, I think it's going to work. I think it's going to work. And we used, right, I know what two grasses we used there. Let's paint the edge of this in black. And you can let let that dry and figure out what grasses we have, because we have a ton of tufts now. A ton. I've got probably 12 different ones. And I'm going to pick at least 2 for sure. Maybe 3. 2 for sure. One of the Australian ones and one of the non-Australian ones. All right. Let's just use this straight from the bottle. This is El Cheapo Craft Paint. I first started painting the edges of these stands. I'm like, let me use craft paint. So if it gets scuffed up, it's really inexpensive to replace. The problem I hadn't counted on is that it never gets scuffed up in the first place. But the nice thing is, I understand that craft paint, or also known as paint that's very cheap to manufacture, has less pigment and more filler than good quality paints. And the filler, I forget, filler may not be the exact term, but is very flat. So, you know, I don't want shiny edges to these stands. And I really don't want to go back and, you know, and what do you call it, seal that. Like I said, I don't need to make my painting, my already slow painting system even slower. Skylab, there he is. Tony, you convinced me to go with Litco bases for 3B. Going to put in an order for 3mm thick. Well, it only took how many years? Look, the only reason I went with these stands, I'm going to be completely honest with you. The first time when I got into DBA, the same guy that was selling DBA armies had Litco stands. I didn't know anything about them. I didn't know what the alternatives. I know I didn't want to do steel, okay? Because steel, you can poke yourself. And also, it's a point. So it's a point where you're going to rub the paint off it. And I don't want to have to repaint stuff. I don't mind taking my time painting things, but I really don't want to fix things I've done. So you happen to have 3mm Litco stands and magnetic bases, the magnets to them, and you know the rest is history. They didn't even make the 1.5 mil ones, which they have now. I don't know that I would like them anymore. I like that they look like a plain piece. That's why I put the edge in black. It helps them stand out a little bit better on the videos also, but I think they look better. I'm not trying to build a diorama. If I was, I wouldn't just put a skirmish stand with 2 figures on it. But all right, let's go look at Tuftlandia so you can see what I'm talking about. And at this point, I'm probably going to have to move them somewhere else because they're really hard to get a hold of all and not have them spill all over the place. So let's see what we have in our repertoire. Let's get rid of our speeders and stuff. Okay, we've got. This is the one that we use for our Dracula army. This is Dark Moss. Almost certainly not going to use it in this army. But we're going to set that aside there. Just for variety. It's kind of dark. Okay, we've got this Lowland Shrubs. This is always a winner. Especially they make little cute ones too. Okay, the fuzzies. This is the leftover of a previous one. and the new one. I didn't feel like I needed an extra package just sitting around there. So we've got Lowland Shrubs. What else we got? And I think I overbought these. But I think I've got other Lowland Shrubs. Alright. Gamer's Grass. Sounds like something you smoke. This is some of my... these guys are on there. This is actually a really useful one because it's green, but the tops of them are kind of yellow. Like they're burnt in the sun. Okay, and this color I believe is called Autumn. Autumn is what it is. We don't have very many of those. We've got, I want to say, the most useful color of all. The one I've found so far is the most useful one. Is, man, I got a lot of this stuff. Well, you know, I was at places, I'm like, I want to buy something. And that's what there was to buy. And, oh, we got some pretty ones. Let's move this out of the way. We're going to need this as a staging area. I hate these containers, are so damn slippery. Anyways, the most useful one I found is a color called Swamp Tuft. It's just standard green. Just kind of a mid-grade green. Jeez. Didn't expect it was going to be that difficult. Lowland Shrubs. I bought more Lowland Shrubs. Didn't need them. I don't know when, but we don't need that one here. Because we already have a full one of that. What else do we have here? We've got Frozen Tufts. There's a little bit of white in them. Probably not going to use that in this army. I'm going to leave that for like the Mongols or something like that. Shh, don't say that. Or the Huns. Winter Tuft. These are just brown. Meadow Flowers. Oh, look at the happy little flowers. Now, if you look at it on the screen, it's not as bright as here as it is on the screen there. On the screen there, it looks like freaking sunflowers or something. Wasteland Tuft, another brown that's... I just decided to get it. I'm like, I'm going to buy something at this show, and I didn't buy any figures. Highland Tuft, which is, I think, really misnamed, because these are damn near brown. What's this? More of the Autumn Wild Tufts? Autumn? Okay, well I have this Autumn floating around here somewhere. We're going to get rid of this container. These are both the same thing. Oh no, they're not. These are small, and these are just what? Okay. All right, it's the same color, but different things. And then I picked up these at the show. This is a wild. This is dry green. Not very dry. I'm not going to use these. These are like for my... I got an Indian army coming at some point. This is strong green. And then for craziness, this stuff that is really, really thick. Really, really thick. And this is deep, spiky tufts. And if you look at the side view of them, yeah, they're pretty spiky. You get like skirmishers that can hide in this stuff. So this is going to be for one of my jungle armies at some point. I saw it there. It was there. Now, I have all those tufts, plus the ones that Greg sent me from the Land of Oz. Which, wild grass, we've used them before. This is kind of a medium to dark green. These are lead-bear tufts. We have green. We've used some of these on our Emirites. Light green, which is a very happy shade. it's likely I'm going to use this one as one of the colors. Likely. And these are lead-bear tufts, by the way. They're actually available for, I think they sell internationally. These are just dry. This is more step-like. All right, so I got to make a decision. So we're going to get rid of, we're not going to use dry grass or these other two greens that I've already used from Australia. So I've got light green here as one of the candidates. We're not going to use spiky. We're not going to use the strong. I don't think we're going to use the strong. Where is the stand here? Nope, that's not them. This is them. Looks pretty damn good. Well, let's try to not use that. Okay, and I don't want to use any of these colors that I've used before. Okay, so we're going to try to avoid using these wild ones. I want something a little different. Let's not use the swamp ones. Actually, that's pretty good. All right, let me think about that. We've used this Lowland Shrubs a lot. Oh, these are made in Portugal, which is funny because these army painters say they're made in Portugal, and Gamer's grass is also made in Portugal. Aha. So cork and tufts, that's what they make in that place. Okay, swamp tufts, we've used them in damn near every army. Not going to use them. Frozen, I think, is just going to be too, not enough color. What are we left with? The dry green, these are too brown, these are too brown. Let's leave the flowers here just for yucks. And this is too brown. I don't know, I could do lots of combinations and I'd probably be happy with all of them. I like mixing these Australian ones in with everything else. So let's take a look at these Australian ones. Is this completely dry now? Or dry-ish? These are super extra, super duty sticky. This isn't where they're going to be. I just want to see them, what the color combination is going to look like on the stand. Okay. I don't think I'm going to use them and the dark moss. I think it's too extreme. Okay, let's put the dark moss away. All right, what else we got over here? Let's look at the flowers. I think this might be the three that we're going to do. This is just total experimentation. Total experimentation. I will come up with something I'm happy with. I don't want to use like the light brown with this color because it's just going to get lost. And let's put a couple of these flowering things. And they make some flowering bushes in some crazy ass colors too. And I could swap these out for ones that are bigger or smaller. I just kind of want to see some of these colors on the base to see if I'm happy with the look of it. All right, and then let's put somebody like I'm pretty happy with that. I'm pretty happy with that color combination. I do like the little flowering things. It adds a little bit of something else to it. A little bit of something something. Might have to experiment with Tufts. What? You don't know have any yet? I was a late bloomer. Haha, literally. Been wanting to jump at ancient miniature war game. Any good tips how to get started DBA or near a simple rule set? I'm coming from 40K as my only miniatures games. Seems like a completely different mindset between modern mini games and historical games. Yeah, I've never played 40K, so this is a great game, but man, it is not easy. It is not. The wording is just weird. Just weird. All right, let's take this stuff off. I'm pretty happy with that. If I don't like them, if I get halfway through the army and I'm like, you know what, the grass is too bright on here or something, I can replace them. I've never had to do that, but let's go ahead and do that. This will be fighting in the spring for these guys. I had many moons ago, I had the big book that 40K came in. And I mean the big book, talking about the book that was probably printed in 86 or 87, had the pages that would just all come out. Never played the game. I'm not big on that codex mentality. I understand why they do it. They want to sell products, whatever. But it doesn't really work for me as a slow painter. There's several games that Games Workshop came out with that I was really interested in. And by the time I finished what I was doing and started to okay, let's go ahead and start moving in that direction, they had discontinued the games. One of them was Epic, 40K Epic, just because I like the demons. I thought the demons would be pretty cool, when do you get to play demons? Running around beating on something with a stick. Everybody's got weapons, and you just got this huge red guy that just runs around beating on stuff. I really just want to do is I want to do some crazy voices. The other one was Man of War that looked really, really cool. I don't know if the game was worth the damn, but it looked really cool. And we're going to substitute some of these for some bigger ones with the bushes. We're going to use this one right here. This big old thing. I'm going to plop it down right here. And last one was Dark Future. And all three of those, by the time I got around to them, they ended up discontinuing them. Hold on one second. Okay, so I never got a chance to play any Games Workshop stuff. I'm not a fan of saves. I'm not a fan of, yes, I finally got a hit at the last minute. They didn't. I'm not a fan of that. But I'm also not a fan of Dice 6 systems, and this is all Dice 6 system. I'm like, there just aren't enough probabilities for that. And yeah, there are. It's deceiving. It's deceiving that it's simple. It actually works really well. The nice thing about D6 is if you want to build, if you want to buy some dice that work around the look of your army, nothing better than D6. They make them in every single kind, different characters, kanji characters, Arabic, Hebrew, all kinds of different characters you want for the dice in every color you could possibly imagine. D6 is definitely the most versatile for that. Best thing is watch, I got a couple of videos on how to play the game. Watch it, see if it's your cup of tea. If I was really into Ancients, really into Ancients, I wouldn't play this game. It's just not specific. It's a little too generic for my taste. If this was my, so to speak, religion. If it was something like my World War II, there's no way I could, like, I can't play Flames of War for World War II. It's World War II for dummies. Sorry if you guys like that. It's just not for me. I'm a freaking treadhead rivet counter. You know, so that's extremely unsatisfying. I'm having second thoughts here. What would I... Oh, this color is in there. Okay, so there's no second thoughts at all. I'm just going to switch some of these because these little green ones, I think they're only available in this size. So we're going to leave the small ones in that green color and then mix in some other sizes so that it looks a little bit more irregular. Will you stay open and send your ass back to Portugal? All right. I'm going to put one big green one there. It doesn't have to be huge, but it could be, say, this size. And then the other one. I don't like how this area is behind it. Will the green one work there? So I'm going to alternate this stuff a little bit. And these things are extremely sticky. Must be made of, what's that stuff they have down there? Marmite, Vegemite? Vegemite, I think. Sticky Vegemite. I think we're going to put the other one there. And then we have a large green area here or up here. It doesn't have to be two of each one. That's just kind of what I just, on a whim. I think that's what we're going to go with. Sometimes you can just overthink things. Sometimes you have to just do. Don't overthink, just do. Just jump in and paint your way out. It's not my first rodeo, so. Okay, Steve, yeah, we're not going far. We're just going up to maybe an hour and a half away, so. I did need to figure out the basing on this because, you know, I want this army done by Historicon. And it's not really that tall an order. We just need to kind of just crank along how we've been cranking along and we'll do fine, you know. Can't remember whether I glued these guys down or not. I guess I didn't. See, I'm kind of new to Tufts. I prefer Tufts now to, and I use them both, to static grass. I just figured this is going to be some kind of semi-arid Anatolian type of area that, you know, doesn't have grass everywhere. And yes, there's parts of it that are plenty arable. I just decided to just be different with these guys. Okay, these two are glued. This one's not glued, although you wouldn't be able to tell because that stuff is... Let's just move it. Let's move them over to here. Let's move this bright sprig. Now, I actually like this Vallejo paste better than the Liquitex paste, except for one thing. The Liquitex one is thicker, so you could, I push these things into the ground material, and I'm not able to do that with this. So, you know, is it a deal breaker? Absolutely not. But I just comment that it's not better in every single way. Okay. There we got it. And it is extremely bright from this light up above. So it isn't as bright as this. This is a shitty picture taking. All right, let's see if we can tinker with this a little bit so it looks on screen a little bit more like what I see. Let's change this white balance exposure level off. Oh yeah, the brightness is turned on. This is probably more accurate. It's just not wanting to focus. Let's that's probably a little bit more accurate. Pictures are always going to turn out the best in the daylight. And they do fine in this light. The problem is it's just too close. All right. Onward and upwards. That's the first Byzantine one. So here's to compare how they look differently from the Amorites, which I'm really happy with how the Amorites looked. Let's change this again to a little bit more brightness. Okay. We can go ahead and put the Amorites away now. And the Irish. This is what we're going to roll with. How long have we been on here? An hour? That only took an hour. Okay, Irish go here. Amorites go here. Other Amorites go here. All right. So who's up next? Well, I think I mentioned I was going to do the Armenian Spear next. But before we get into that, let's go ahead and black base these Kumans and take 2 of these Turks out of the mix. They are no longer going to be painted in this army. We're going to use the Kumans instead. These 2 Kuman guys. We'll have pictures of these guys online tonight before I go to bed. It just doesn't do it justice. You really got to go outside and take it. You know, it's not that it's got to look perfect. It's just you guys are seeing stuff on screen that I'm not. It's not an accurate representation. Let's take all this stuff before it falls over. We're going to need a special container just for all these Tufts. I've just gotten too many. Well, I didn't go out and order them at once. I'm over here like, okay, look, I'm not going to come empty-handed. So. I don't know where I'm going to put them yet. We'll find somewhere for them. Les brush. See how much of a mess we're going to end up making with this stuff. Yeah, we'll do the Armenian Spear next. Give me an opportunity to paint some shields. Wahahaha. One of my favorite things. Probably my most favorite thing is figuring out what shields to paint and painting them. And they're going to have a common motif of lots of crosses. Many of those, it's 2 stands, so it's 8 figures. For sure, 4 of them are going to have some variation of a cross. Honestly, I should probably not paint them all with a different shield. I should probably paint each unit with a different... I don't know that yet. It's unlikely I'm going to get to the shield. I'll think about that. That way it'll look part of a unit. Of course, they're uniforms. They won't be uniformed. They all kind of have the same get up, though. Nice looking figure. These things are relatively old. From the 80s, I think. The old, I think they were, well, the packaging says Metal Magic, sculpted by Mr. Ochman. And then they were carried by Gladiator. And then a company called Black Hat took them over. And then Gladiator took them back over. But now they're carried by a company called Fighting 15s in the UK. Used to be you could get them in the US from a place called... They're in the center of the US. Not Brigade Games. Scale Creep. Scale Creep Miniatures. There's somewhere in the center of the US. And they would have Gladiator stuff. They had Gladiator figures. But these were a ton of figures I bought from Marty that he had bought on a discount, I think in California when he was getting out of there. So he's had them for 30 years. Really nice figures, honestly. Really nice. I actually never... No, I have painted Gladiator figures. My Chinese, my terracotta guys are Gladiator. All right. Let's rinse this. I need to go grab a beverage, and I will be right back. Okay, we're back. Okay. We need to put these Kumans, I guess nobody's told me. Kumans? Kumans. Kumans seem right. It's the Cumans. All right, that's it. I've had enough. I gotta find out what it's called, because it's gonna drive me crazy. Let's see. How to pronounce. Typing with a left hand. That's a recipe for disaster. Kumans. Well, I don't want to hear I can't hear the thing. I'm online. Cumin. According to this, it's cumin. The cumins. Okay, we'll call them cumins. All right. Maybe none of us know. That's why nobody said anything. Cumins. Okay. Like Cubans, but cumins. That's easy to remember. Okay. How's this looking? Now I'm wondering how it would have looked with the same brown underneath. I don't know if I'm digging out that olive drab type color underneath. Well, we won't know until we do like a mounted unit or something like that. They'll be fine. Okay. There'll be a lot of guys that look like that. So if I'm not happy with it, I better decide now. This army will also be my first chance to paint real Normans. Real Normans. All right, here's the Armenian Spearmen. Here is the Armenian Spearmen. 8 figures, all Old Glory. Replace their spears with pins. And they're filed down so we don't... Oh, this is not one of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7... Where's the last dude? Here he is. 8. All right. So we're just going to grab one guy. We're going to grab one guy. Let's make it this guy. And we're going to paint him up. And every single one of these poor bastards has a beard. Every single one of them has a beard. So what I like to do is, I've looked on my reference materials. I can't find any information on it. I did find a shield I like. And I'll show that to you. And I don't remember if it's in the Armies of the Dark Ages book. I believe it is. We'll look there first. And it's yep, here it is. And it's actually beautiful. So it's a stylized cross with a painted boss and like some little dots or something like that around it. So I'm going to do that guy's shield like that. But there's no ideas like for colors and stuff like that. So I will go to one of my favorite things I like to do, which is Google image search. I missed something. Where are you off to this weekend? We're going to the beach. We're going to worship the sun god. Not far. But that's where the mothers want to go, so that's where we're going. Okay, so Google image search. Huge fan of Google image search. Just go to Google, type in Armenian Spearmen. And of course, this is just somebody's representation. It's their ideas. Not necessarily something I agree with, but at least it gives you an idea of something dressed up, what they possibly could look like. It isn't the word of the Almighty. And sure enough, there is a link to figures from Perry Miniatures. Perry Miniatures, of course, are in 28 millimeter scale. And let's see what this person's interpretation of some of these figures is. Okay, awfully bright. I just figured these guys would be dressed on the cheapo. Maybe I don't need to do that. Okay, maybe we need to do trim. Need to do some trim on their stuff there. Got a guy who's even wearing purple. Ooh, snazzy. A couple of them have the shields we talked about. All right. I think they make a couple stands of Armenian Spears. That's Armenian archers. Armenian Spearmen defending, unarmored. Here's what we got here. What do we got here? We got a guy wearing pink, red. Okay, so pretty much all of them have light colored pants and a light colored tunic or darker. But the pants all seem to be consistently light. At least this person's interpretation of them. Okay. Sounds good. We'll kind of go with that. And that's what I do. I use Google image search for a lot of stuff. And it's not the word of God. I mean, I look at other places, but a lot of this stuff that we want absolutes just doesn't exist. Nobody wrote this stuff down. Nobody wrote this stuff down. All right, so we're going to have a tan type hat on this guy, a shield with a cross on it of some kind, a tunic. Let's not make the tunic a bland color. That doesn't mean let's go crazy. That means just not make the tunic a bland color or super bland. How about that? How's this light blue look? This is what we're going to use as tunic color. Pants. Green gray on the pants. We're going to do a hat similar in color like this. Not quite as yellow. And then we'll have a cross that is going to have red in it. All right. Let's roll. This should still be in good shape. Armenian Spearmen. I got more brushes laying around here I know what to do with. That one can go away. These three are detailed ones for faces. Okay, this one's not so good. Perfect. And the magic drippings. Vallejo airbrush thinner. Better known as. This does not need to be here, but we do need something I can wipe brushes down on. All right, let's get the first color. Let's paint the tunic. And we'll have a white embroidery on that. So as always, let's get Mr. Black out here. Joe Black and Betty White. So on Monday, I got a chance to play some DBN, which I'd played before, but they decided to play with base width measurements instead of in inches. And everyone liked it better. That was my biggest gripe really with DBN, is that it was still using inches. And mounted doesn't feel like it's mounted, and infantry is it just can't move at all. Like, you know, it just has trouble turning. You know, they don't need to be, you know, rocket powered, but they need to be a little bit more mobile than that. Everybody enjoyed that. I didn't film it because it was kind of unexpected that I even got a chance to play in it. I was supposed to arrive about 6 o'clock, and things were kind of slow at work, so I'm like, let me go ahead and leave a couple hours early. And hold on. Okay, there he is. Joe finally gets to sit and paint. All right. Armenian Spearmen. So anyways, it was kind of unexpected when I was going to get there. So I got there probably 3 hours earlier than I expected. And they were just sitting down and playing some DBN because they play all day long. Joel comes on Monday, on Mondays as well, but he comes early in the morning because he doesn't want to drive. He's got about an hour and a half hour drive after he's done. He doesn't want to drive in the middle of the night. Don't blame him. So, got to play some DBN. Enjoyed it more than I ever enjoyed playing DBN before because of the movement. So, wasn't filmed because, hell, I didn't even know it was going to be there. So, and I'm not sure I have enough space on my camera to film 2 games. I may have, but we're kind of experimenting with those rules anyways. So, experimenting with the base width movement, which pretty sure we're never going to play in inches again. white dries off so fast. It's always the first color to dry out. Let's not go to the full brightness of that. Well, hold on a second. Let me rethink this. Yeah, we can do. What fuzzies did we pick up? Heck, if we can get this guy done tonight, I'll be pretty happy. I'll paint an Armenian Spearmen every time I paint. That'll work. Now, unfortunately, we'll fall behind this weekend because we've got no painting time, but so be it. Okay, we'll leave the trim for later if we get around to doing that. Wanted to do light colored pants with this color. Green gray. Another color that needs an enema. A needle enema. All right, let's do the shield. I mean the spear. Let's get the old. Well, where is that wood color? No, it might be flat earth is the one I'm thinking of. Yeah. Let's use flat earth for the base. Might as well paint the back of the shield this color too. Save me some trouble. Just give it a little bit of a base color at that point. And these guys actually look like they got a pretty good face. They got eyes showing, but and they're a little bug-eyed looking, but cheekbones don't seem to be a pain. Maybe the sculptor has really big cheekbones. You just figure, this is what people normally look like. I don't know, when you've got figures that have a very dominant look and your entire army is consisted of guys that basically have that genetic trait, it's kind of becomes difficult to make them look the part in an army when you have a vast array of folks all have the same unique look. All right, flesh is up next. And then we can do his happy hat. I know it's a happy hat because he's wearing it. Okay. The flesh mix. Get the usual suspects: red leather, sunny skin tone, black and white. Red leather. Getting all crick-crocked. Is this going the way of the limp noodle? The way of the limp noodle. All right. We're going to need more black than that. It's getting hard to dig at. All right. Take some of this, mix it with some of this. Paint all the fleshy bits overall with that. All right, now we got to switch to a smaller brush. Smaller, more precise brush. Mm-hmm. Ah, I keep forgetting to do the eyes. I need to do the eyes. I went and put eyes on this dumbass. I gotta paint them then. It's that low-flying aircraft again. Okay. As I was. Okay. Let's do his happy hat. Now, I may add a little bit more of this core yellow color. I'm not going to go crazy with it. Now we'll add some white to lighten that up. Okay. Let's go ahead and get the metal on the spear point and get that over with. All right, let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at that shield. Let's take a look at this, okay? Well, yeah, I think I'm gonna make all the shields different of the unit. Because the poses already are very similar. What they're wearing is very similar. So let's at least step out of that similarity with the shield. All right, so we're going to do a white background. So in doing so, we're going to go ahead and take this white here, mix some black into it. Oh, Jesus, not that much. right, something like this medium gray. And we're going to paint the whole thing medium gray. Okay, doesn't look too bad already, and I haven't done anything. All right, the background is going to be white. We want the cross to be red. So let's get, or this one in particular. Let's get this. I believe this is flat red. Yep. We're going to darken this, and then we're going to do some light design drawing on the shield using a paintbrush. A paintbrush is a hell of a lot more forgiving than a pencil or anything else. I mean, it doesn't make sense, but it is. Okay, so we're going to have a center area here. And then the cross is going to come up, it's going to come down, it's going to go out, and it's going to go out over here. So we just kind of did some basic drawing on here. So let's connect this. And let's make the center a little bit bigger. Thicken this. The center is as big as the center is. The center of the boss is as wide as the rest of it. So we're going to come up here. I'm not going to do that on mine. I'm not going to make it that thick, I don't think. Yeah, it's artistic license. It's whatever you want to do with it. Okay, this is what we got. It's kind of a basic pattern. And we're gonna make a circle all the way around the end. We're gonna go ahead and use the same red, why not? And we're going to fill some of this in. Let's take more of this red. Still like keeping it nice and thin like this because you get better control and you also don't have the colors bunching up. So we're going to make the center more noticeable. The edge. Looking forward to finishing my late Roman army whenever I get around to it, because it's all got hand-painted shields. Got a couple stands in and then I just lost traction. Okay. If you can tell on there. But we're working our way into it. Now, we don't want it super bright, okay? But we do want to add some brightness to it without going crazy. Now, let's add some white to it. And it's going to make it look a little pink, that's fine. And add a little bit more white to that than this. Okay. And then we will do the same thing . We're going to do the same thing with the white. Now the color we painted everything white in, I believe, is this one right here. I think that's where it's hanging out. Yep. Let's get some new white out here. This is my favorite part of the whole process. Love that shield pattern. Me too. See, hopefully I don't screw it up. All right. Here, a little bit of black. Too watery, too watery. Color's right, but it's too watery. Now it's not watery, but it's the wrong color. What the what? Lighten it up a little bit. maybe a little bit more white. This is the final kind of highlight. A little more, a little more, a little more. We can push it, we can push it. This is what I did. This is what I want to do. Now, let's take a look at that. But you can't take a look at it like that because you can't see jack shit. Let's go in. Wish this was easier to access. Oh, how'd that happen? Aha! Gotcha! You slippery bastard. Yep. Yep, happy with that. Yep. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure they're either going to be plain or they're going to have some form of I mean, they're Orthodox Christians, so some Orthodox twinged type of Christian things on there. Let's his beard. Let's get the old chocolate brown. Chocolate. Is it chocolate brown? Almost done with him. Guy painted out really well. He doesn't have a lot of stuff on him. That's when things really get bogged down. When they have a lot of I can't use this brush. This brush is too awesome. And this one's not as awesome. We can use this one. All right, Le Beard. A little bit more white. Okay. What color belts do these guys have? Just for yucks. Show them. So it needs to be a light color so it stands out. I'm thinking it needs to be this khaki color. It's just a little bit of a twinge of green in it. And you get used to using paints that just have no smell or a pleasant one. These have very little smell, and what smell it does have, it's pleasant. Don't be falling out of my hands on the floor. We don't have time to do repairs. Ain't nobody got time for that. We said we were going to do a little bit of a trim around the bottom of his shield, about his tunic. I'm not sure that I'm going to do that. I don't want to mess with that and screw him up. We can always do it later. Let's do his shoes in brown, and he's done. We do need to do metal around the edge of that, around the edge of that rim of that shield. Okay, we're going to call this guy done too. And that black shit gets everywhere. And it doesn't come off that easy, because this does have polyurethanic properties. See if we can leverage this guy up on something so we can see him a little closer. Let's see, what can I put him on that's not too tall? How about this? looking kind of washed out, and this light on this. That's a little better.